To give permissions to the ShipWeight users on the SQL Server database, this is easiest done through the Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio. If you go to Google and Google Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio Express download, you should find links where to download this tool. It's free, and we recommend to download it from one of the official Microsoft download websites. These websites should also include instructions on how to install it. When the installation of the Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio is completed, you may start this tool to connect to the ShipWeight server. The tool starts up with a pop-up dialog asking you to connect to server, and it's important that you check that the server name is the correct server for the ShipWeight databases. If this is not the correct server name, please type in the correct server name or go to the drop list, select the correct one, or click browse for more to find network servers and local servers. When the correct server is found, you connect, and in the Object Explorer to the left you will find some nodes under the connected server, and you should expand the security node. Click on Logins subnode, right click and select New Login. This brings up a dialog that allows you to create a new user on the SQL server. Make sure it's set to Windows Authentication and click the search button right of the login name edit box. This brings up a new dialog that allows you to select a user or a group from the Windows users. First you can click Object Type and select if you want to include, for example, groups, in case you want to add permissions to a Windows group and not just a user. Then make sure you enable the groups into this dialog. In our case, we will add a single user, and this user Stig is part of the BAS domain. So we type in BAS/Stig and then click check names to see if this user is found. And we can see that now this user information was transformed here, so this user was found. If the user is not found, you may click the Advanced button, which allows you to select object types, locations, and use the Find Now button to search for names in order to find a specific user or group. When you found your user here, you click OK, and the next thing is to grant the permission for this user. If you want this user to be an administrator of some sort, the only thing you need to do is to click on the server role and select the type of administrator you want this new user to be. If you select that he's a sysadmin, then he will be able to do everything on the SQL server and access all databases. In this case, however, we will show how to just give the minimum required permissions to the ShipWeight databases. So instead of going and granting a server role, we will click user mapping to the left here and then find the databases that's needed for permissions to access ShipWeight databases. And first one is the SDB_ShipDB database. So we find that in the list here. We map this to the user by clicking the checkbox next to the database name. And then down below we click data reader and data writer for access for the SDB_ShipDB for this new user. In addition to that, we need to give access to at least one pair of project databases. and the user Stig will have access to the SW00 project DB. I'm going to select that one and give data reader and DB data writer access to that, and we also have to give to the corresponding log database, data reader and data writer. The SW00 belongs to the commercial SWIBIS structure. If the user should have access to the SWIBIS structure, we need to also allow SWIBIS database, project database access. So we go to SW04 project DB and give data writer and DB data reader to that, and the corresponding project DB underscore log. And then you continue to do this for all the necessary project databases. And when that's done, you need to give similar access to the SW login database. And finally, to the WDB SWIBIS system database. And also for commercial projects, the ShipWeight DB database. Now these Windows user Stig have been granted all necessary access to operate ShipWeight from the commercial work breakdown structure, the military work breakdown structure, and for a corresponding project DB. So we click OK, and then permissions have been granted, and this user can now access ShipWeight.